scheduling thing for everybody that we get to play. Have this home and away series that you go. You don't know who you're playing every year, but at least you know it's going to be a quality game, and we got a quality game in our hands. I said on the radio show and things like this that it's really odd that the bubble teams that have almost everybody back seem to be who are playing in all these matchups. Whether bubble teams from last year, the South Carolinas, the UCLA's, Marquette, and now Virginia Tech, teams that really paid their dues last year, got enough wins to be right there, beat some good teams last year, and but either just got in like we did, or Virginia Tech just missed and went to the NIT. So they get everybody back. It's a really good team, really smart team, and they shoot the ball really well. Remind me a lot of some of the better teams we've had, where they just have a lot of shooters, a lot of guys that can just see the floor. And so I got a lot of respect for what Buzz has done there and the time that he has been there to get this program where they're going to be a formidable opponent in the ACC this year.
Coach, you just alluded to it. I think they're averaging something like 82 points. Are you kind of looking forward to this as a defensive test?
This is the first game that we're going to play that has some Indiana, Michigan State tendencies to it, where that ball is going to come through the basket and be pushed up the floor right down our throat. So if our transition defense is not good, they will get 80 on us. We're going to have to get back, whether it's in victory or defeat at that end. You either scored or you missed, you still have to get back. And so that's really going to be a challenge for us. We haven't played anybody like that yet that is really trying to ram it down your throat. And we're practicing it, yet at the same time trying to conserve energy so you're ready for it. But the Derek Zacks, Muhammad have seen that before with the Indianas, who are probably the best in our league. And we have to do it well. We have to get back and match up.
John, I know that you've been asked about DJ and Mo before, but kind of just going back to their development, especially last year. Last year we saw, Mo in the Big Ten tournament, kind of some growth. Do you have the front court that you envisioned having? I know the past couple of years you've been talking about, development in front court.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have what you've been envisioning?
I think the potential is certainly there. I think we got to get there yet. I think they're both of those guys are, they're developing talent. And as you've said hundreds of times, talent develops at different times. And you'll have the guys that you'll see as seniors and say, oh my God, they could be a player of the year candidate as a senior. And yet they at the freshman and sophomore, you doubt where they're going because they're just trying to figure some things out. And those two guys right now, are tracking, they're developing, they're doing, but they take steps backwards, but then they go forward. So I think that remains to be seen. When they have a level of consistency every day of staying out of foul trouble, of guarding their yard, guarding their man, making shots, then I could probably answer that question better.
Where have you seen DJ, I guess just athletically? Going back to last year, you always talked about his athleticism and kind of the consistency thing. Where has he developed in that area, or where does he need to develop?
He knows how to use his athleticism right now, that he is in position to be in position so that he can use this long frame to go in and rebound and defense are the two things that we've seen the biggest growth in with him. That he's willing to get in there and scrap for basketballs. He's willing to go and guard somebody. We can switch some screens or we can stay at home on a big guy like they're going to have this kid Chris Clark, who's a really good, he's young sophomore, but a really good 4-3 type of player that has both power and finesse to his game. And that's going to be a matchup for DJ that's maybe harder for some of our other guys.
Chris? How critical is it to get scoring from Mar and three-point shooting if you're playing DJ at the 4?
Yeah, we have to have it. When Duncan's not in the game, that is a void right now. But I think, DJ is a good shooter, so with him, he making that three the other day, and he made one in an earlier game, a big one. This is important that he really gets, we can have that spacing. I have faith that when he's open. Muhammad obviously is the same thing. But they have to shoot better than they're shooting right now. Their numbers are not good, and I have confidence they'll be better. And then we just got to develop, just like we have to develop, Mo and DJ to be better physically playing inside on offense. These guys have to just we gotta rep them out, we gotta keep working at them so that they feel really confident. When they're open, they have time and space, they should shoot the ball in from three.
And then has there been a little bit less room for Marv to move a little, to drive into the hole because of the?
I haven't noticed it too much yet, but there is there's certainly, we're gonna have to prove that over time. Virginia Tech is a great team they'll guard the three-point line and give help. So as you know, as the numbers, the synergy numbers start coming out and the percentages, the bigger data comes out, people will play it appropriately. And I got a lot of confidence if what you see in games, it's my hope that you won't see for long, that we'll become more consistent, more comfortable. When you talk about guys like Mo and guys like DJ who may only, less than 10 threes in their life in big college games, and they're not going to turn into Nick Stauskas overnight, but they do have some ability, and so it's these little incremental steps they're making so we can open the floor.
John, with Zach, did you see him respond to South Carolina's struggles better than maybe in the past? Because there were times in the past when it would linger.
That's a good point. Yeah, I saw it the next day in practice where, as we went over that film after that game, Mark, and he was like just watching his 8 turnovers and watching him try and do too much, right? That you could see he walked out to practice the next day like he'd been revived. You know what I mean? That he understood what happened and he could fix it, try and fix it. So him coming right out of that shoot and just not being confident of his shot, being confident of the plays, 4 assists, no turnovers, I think that's a good. Now, he wasn't playing South Carolina again, so I think if we see that carry over in Virginia Tech, just playing, he plays hard, he's got to continue to play smarter, and just as we play through him and some other guys, he's got to make a lot of decisions out there. And I think he learned a lot from the South Carolina game.
Is that a responsibility thing that he has to embrace, or?
Yeah, no, he knows it and he wants it. He wants the ball at the end, a shot clock or at the end of a game. So, but it's not just having the ball and taking a shot. It's about making the right play, right basketball play.
Andrew?
Coach, I know you update us every time we speak, but what's the latest on Ibby and X as far as how they've looked in practice?
Just making good strides yesterday. That's and I know we've talked about it. We'll continue to talk about it. You don't see them getting chances in games. Believe me, they get 120 minutes every day. And so when we start seeing some things that will really help us, we saw Ibby made 2 or 3 really good plays yesterday in practice. X made a couple as well. When we start seeing these things more often, then that's when they earn their minutes. And this is very transparent with them too. They know this. Show us, earn the trust. We got the whole team, right, is behind you, right, once you show it to us. But it's not fair to put them in when they're still, going through a few things that is very, very typical of freshmen.
John?
On those nights when the threes don't happen to be falling, at this point, where do you see your best options for putting points on the board?
Some things just don't change, do they, right? It is, we got to find ways to, win the hustle areas. I think that we're getting to the backboard more where we can find things. Driving the ball, getting 2 feet in the paint. I think we got a couple of guys that can get in there. And like I said, we've had some games where we didn't shoot well from 3 and we still won. And I expect Virginia Tech will, they'll try and take that away, although maybe you don't take that away, but you look at some of our percentages. Our championship team in 2012 did not shoot the ball very well. You remember the Arkansas games and these other games where we couldn't buy a basket, yet we were able to still beat some pretty good teams. So we got to find answers by getting into the lane, throwing the ball into the post, playing out of the post. We did that a couple times. We're trying to emphasize in practice, but there's flat out times in a game our post is wide open and we do not pass them the ball. And they see it on video. And there's 2 things. The post's got to want it and show they want it and present themselves, and our guys got to pass them the ball. And we're emphasizing it. We're making it a point. But at the same time, if they get the ball, then we got to make good things happen.
Okay. And the other thing is, it obviously doesn't affect anything in the spring or in the Big Ten, but in this challenge, how I guess, important has that become as these leagues are going back and forth in this one?
You know, it's interesting, and I think you guys can know this better than me, that from an outsider watching this challenge as the coach at Richmond in West Virginia, it was dominated by the ACC. And now, ever since we've been in the league, it's close, you know, it's usually, you know, I don't know how many teams are playing, but if there was 12 teams playing, it's usually 7-5 or something. But I think the Big Ten has won most of them in the head-to-head matchups. So it's interesting how it's changed just during the time I've been here. I think it's got significance. I don't think it's like it should, because the matchups could be, you know, so they put teams and they're playing, they project the team to be really well, and they're playing on the road, and you know it is tough to match. It's not always matching apples and apples as they try and figure out with schedules. You know, some teams are, like, there's no way Virginia Tech could have played a Monday or Tuesday game. They were out in California. So they have to be on a Wednesday game, the home and away. But it's good for basketball. I think it's good for basketball.
So you're taking credit for that since you got here?
No, I don't have anything to do with that. I don't know what my record is, but it's probably not as good as the league's.
John, with Zach, is he still, given where the young guys are at, even when he's playing bad, I would assume he's still your best option, or he's having an off night or whatever, he has to be in the game for.
Well, yeah, we want, but I think Derek, it can be that option too. And and we want Muhammad to do more as well, you know, and the other guys can all play off of those things. We'll use Mo, you know, at times as well, but it's important that Zach and Derek, the two of those guys, we have a lot of things going on for them, and they gotta just continue to get better at it. And seeing the open man, when people load up on, they'll load up on Zach, they'll load up on Derek a little bit. They got to see the other guys that are open. That happened a couple times in South Carolina game where they really loaded up on Zach and other guys were wide open, and he didn't see that. So he wants to make plays. I love his courage, but sometimes that can also be your enemy.
And then in that game as well, I think you guys were in the bonus like 10 minutes to go in the first half.
Yeah.
Settled for a lot of shots.
Yeah.
Did you hammer on them to go to the
Yeah,
basket?
no,
attack?
that was emphasized. We took a couple of, you guys, I've said it here, I hate the shot, I hate the step back three with 5 on the shot clock. It's like, it's not a high percentage shot, but it's the path of least resistance. And we gotta try to get to the basket, we gotta try and draw fouls, we gotta do that when we have that. We emphasize it, but if that's not your nature, then that is hard to get through, but we're emphasizing, it's all we can do.
Anything else?
I'll take one more.
One more from Chris?
Having not talked to you since that game, do you think that's an anomaly when you shoot that poorly?
No, I think South Carolina guarded the heck out of us.
Mhm.
It wasn't, we had 4 or 5 open threes in the first half, and we didn't get them. We didn't knock them down. Other than that, we didn't get many open shots. I think South Carolina did the same thing to Syracuse. They're long, they got a whole bunch of really good defenders. They got the same plan that I think West Virginia scored. It turns Manhattan over 40 times last night. I've never heard of that. 40 turnovers. It's the same plan. It's a growing trend. I said that before. That was their plan. And we're not gonna just leave you. You're gonna have to beat us one-on-one off the dribble, and that's what you're gonna do. So you're gonna take away the threes, and that's what South Carolina did. And we got to continue to work, because we'll probably see something again, if not a few times this year, definitely in the future, because it's going that way. The ball screen has just made it so hard. People say, heck with it. We're not going to guard any ball screens. We're not going to let you catch the ball.
Mhm.
And you can't run any stuff against it. You got to be elite passing backdoor team to get it done.
Thanks.
All right.
Appreciate it.